Good morning. This morning I wanted to talk about, punishment. What we think is appropriate punishment for this world and for the next. Not very long ago, a man that I had known for a number of years, he took his own life. And I'd been friends with him. I'd made an attempt to get to know him and interact with him after I knew that he was a child molester, had molested his own daughter. And she was in she'd left home at 14 in foster care, went to foster care voluntarily and told the workers that he had molested her. So I talked to his wife, and she said that when he drank, he had a problem. And so when the grandkids came to visit, she had him off in a bunkhouse, and she'd go sleep out there. You know, they didn't stay, I don't think they stayed too many months, you know. So, but they were a very isolated family, and this was partly because of her too. So I thought it was the best interest of the community if I got acquainted with him and tried to see. I felt that he was a dangerous man to have in the community. He wasn't going to prison. He wasn't going to. So what could we do to reach him? Well, to my surprise, he turned out to be a very intelligent guy, entertaining, had a great sense of humor. All of us sisters were writing, and we got him involved in the writing. He would write poetry and articles and send us. He was articulate. He could express himself. He was a college graduate. He had a very good job working for the government. He'd been in the service, and then he became a civilian and continued on working as a troubleshooter and computer programmer. So, you know, he had to have brains and ability. And he'd somehow, you know, the crime that of his daughter, molesting his daughter, had not been reported, so he continued on. And I knew there was a risk to have anything to do with him, because I soon found out he was an alcoholic. He was always drunk when he was home. And so there again, there was another problem to contend with his drinking, because I thought with his drinking, the problems he had, the molesting problem he would tend to be even more out of control. But my own father was an outlaw, somewhat, and alcoholic, and I tended to associate with guys like this because
What?
I wasn't religious, and I followed along the line.
What did you say? You tended to do what?
I tended to associate with alcoholics. Why? Because the Board of Religion is very much against drinking. If you are a good Mormon, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you're not supposed to drink coffee. But I had such problems with the religion, I just couldn't really go along with it. There's too many things about it that I just couldn't accept. So I didn't have too many other choices. Of course, this fellow was a rebel against about everything. And his brother was very religious. They had quite a, I remember him visiting him one time and them having quite a conflict. And he brought his brother to the party, and his brother at some point got outraged at what was happening or something that was said, and set out to walk home in the dark about 4 miles. And he was saying, "Oh, where is he? Where is he?" But since he was not in the, never did go to prison, there came a point in our relationship where he was very drunk and he came to my apartment and he was angry at me. And as he went to leave, my sister and I were sitting there, and our little girls were playing off in a bedroom. And he was just drunk, almost out of his mind. He could hardly walk. And as he went out the door, he turned and went into the bedroom and grabbed up my little daughter and quickly molested her. And my sister Ann saw him turn into the bedroom, and she got up and went right down there and said, "What are you doing?" And he put her down and left. Well, I didn't think that I should, after I had befriended him, I had gone over the line, and people disapproved of our taking up with him and getting better acquainted. I thought, well, nobody's ever arrested him for a crime like this, so I'm going to charge him, because that's just unacceptable. 5 years old, so I had him arrested, and he had to go to court, and my daughter testified just what he did, and what he did was just happened in such a short, just a couple of 3 seconds, that they decided that wasn't, he would just put him on probation, and he would have to have some therapy, which I doubted would even dent him. But it was a pretty traumatic experience, but I thought that he needed to realize that he couldn't get away with these kind of things forever. And so I didn't talk to him for, about 5 years, and after about 5 years, he came around, with other friends, and so I thought, well, I guess I will forgive him, because of the fact that he told me himself that he was in a blackout. He didn't remember anything about it, and I said, I have to hold you responsible for what you did. It doesn't matter whether you were in a blackout or what you claim. But anyway, 10 years after he had molested her, he came to my house after I had forgiven him, and he was still disturbing. He was still drinking, and he came to my house in Phoenix, very drunk again, just drunk out of his mind.
My question is this guy masochistic or something like that? He likes to come around you so you can beat up on him, is that it?
Well, I don't know. But anyway, he came to the house and said that he was so drunk that he couldn't drive, and could he possibly just stay there on my couch. Well, I could see he'd probably go to jail if he was picked up. So
why didn't you call a cab for this idiot?
He was in his car on his way to.
So what? So he leaves his car there and takes a cab.
Almost. Well, let's just say what happened. And so my daughter was sleeping in the front room. Her bed was in there, and so I thought, well, I can't leave him.
I always thought I was the worst guy you ever met, but no.
Oh no, he was the worst. He was worse than you. But at
his
mercy,
he.
I thought, well, I tried to wake her up and have her go in my bedroom and sleep with me, but she wouldn't wake up. So I thought, well, I'll just get in bed with her, and that way I'll be able to protect her. And he was over on the couch. And
is this where he does that threesome?
So a couple of hours later, I heard a noise, and I woke up, and there he was. He had crawled over to her, and he had put his hand across her breast. Well, I was absolutely furious, of course, and so I just threw him off and said, get out of here. So he left, and then I went to his house later up in Utah where he lived, and told him, don't ever come to my house again. I forgave you. But this time I can't. So that ended the friendship. I never did talk to him again. And
How many years ago was this?
oh, she's 15, she's 40 now, so it'd been a long time. And another problem though was with the wife. The wife didn't, I tried to convince her that he was very intelligent, he needed to talk to people, he needed to be able to express his artistic
He just had
side.
one little small fetish. You're gonna get on a guy just because he likes to, feel up little girls and things like that. I mean, jeez.
Well, anyway,
Now, if that's his main preoccupation about life,
well,
obviously that's a problem.
highly valued him, and she was very jealous and didn't want him really associating with other people. She had
There
a
you go.
tendency to do this.
especially little girls.
And yeah, well, she wanted to enjoy him,
What
but
about little boys, huh?
and so people have the confused ideas, about punishment. So after he killed himself,
Now, how long ago was this?
it's only been about 10 days. And
10 days ago?
yeah,
And how did he do
I am
that?
a medium.
How did he do
and
that?
he came with
Well,
a
I'm
gun.
an extra large,
With
so-
a gun, so
What did he blow his brains
he
out or what?
came and asked me after if I would talk to him.
Now, wait a second. See, a lot of people don't realize what you're trying to say.
I'm a
Now,
psychic.
he shot himself in the head or what? The foot? or what?
I think in the heart.
Okay.
And,
So you don't know this, but while you're sleeping or awake, he decides to show up in your brain,
In
right?
spirit, yes.
Oh, there
in
you go.
spirit. And
Now-
he came with
now-
another friend.
Now I'm getting smart.
He came with another friend. He said he brought him and wondered if I would talk to him again. This is in the hereafter.
What, did he have an attorney with him or something? I mean,
Well,
yes,
And so then-
I'd like to talk to you, and this is my attorney over here, Joe Stein, just to make
Right,
sure there aren't
right.
any problems.
so then I said, and this guy was also had a history of violence,
There
and
you
he
go.
had been accused of a possible murder, and there's nothing like that to cause the people in the town to shun this man as a dangerous man. And so I talked to him, I told him, he said that if he was charged, I knew that they had tried to the son of the man that he was suspected of killing, had tried to get a detective come in so he could prove that whether the murder had been committed. He couldn't prove anything, so it was just dropped. Well, I said, the man who died in the field, whether of a stroke or of being murdered, he knows who killed him if somebody killed him. So we would have to wait until the hereafter for justice or for this crime to come out, for him to. And I'm sitting thinking, well, now how does I wonder how people deal with many criminals die without having been apprehended, and their victims, I'm sure, are thinking about this and they're wanting to confront them. Well, what kind of punishment do you think would happen? Now, of course there's some of you that don't believe in hereafter at all, or they don't like this one, or they don't believe, but I happen to believe in the spirit. And like last night I was dreaming that I had kind of like a magic wand.
Here
and
it comes.
I would throw this wand, and in this wand there was a picture of him and his friend. And I thought, well, if I threw that wand, he would have life. In other words, I would talk to him. As a medium, I could open up dialogue with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, once in a while, I would And I don't know whether he killed this person or not. But I know that he's over there and he will come to the forefront and reveal whether he was murdered or whether he died of natural causes, which the man and his wife claimed, that he didn't kill him. And so what kind of punishment? Now here, I would say that punishment, we should deal with crime in the best way to deter crime and to, how do we do that? How do we, and how would we deal with it in the hereafter?
Well, I think the silent treatment probably would be best for me,
The most punishing?
Yes.
Well, I think so
me,
too.
I won't talk to you.
I think so too. Like with my daughter, I think the worst punishment that I could have given him was just terminated my association with him. I told him, I said, I tried to have an association with you, and your drinking caused you to violate not only my daughter but the friendship completely. So what could I do? What could I do but terminate it? And that's what I would do in the hereafter.
Do they have guns in the hereafter? Your hereafter?
Well, they don't seem to, and I don't know everything about the hereafter. I try to learn all I can, but I did get this dream, and I could throw this wand, and he could materialize. So I knew that he was trying to come through. He was trying to talk more, and I'm trying to say, well, I would talk to you if it's productive. I'm not going to spend my time. This is what I got very tired of talking to him, because he was always drunk, and I would keep telling him, well, I can't really.
It doesn't make any sense to me. He said he's got a good job, his wife loves him, and he's always drunk. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
He was not happy with his wife.
How come she was so happy with him then?
Well, there was quite a big disparity in their education, intelligence, and he always claimed that he couldn't talk to her. She was very emotional. She would just go into all these big histrionics, and he didn't like that. But they had 4 kids, so he was trying to hang in there with her, and I didn't know. I doubted that if he was a very good father. He molested one of the daughters, so what would he have done to the sons? I don't know what he did. I thought he was, and that was another reason I was trying to intervene, is just to see if I couldn't do anything with him. I couldn't reach him. And I thought I did reach him, but he wouldn't quit drinking while I was talking to him. And I don't think you can get anywhere with control if you're going to get drunk all the time.
So what happened?
He didn't drink, obviously, when he was on the job.
What is the upshot of
that?
But
he drank when he was off. Well, and he did quit drinking, though, for years.
Like, what are we going to do with people
and he got very fat. And then he didn't want people to see him.
Why did we make up the story about hell, where you never die, you're already dead, and you just burn? Because that fire hurts like hell. It really does. And usually if you get enough, it kills you, or it puts you, or you pass out, and then you die.
Yes.
No.
Well, there
you
you
have to
go.
Be still alive
there
while
you
you're
go.
burning.
Well, I used to hear a lot about hell's fire and burning, and but I just, like he said, I mean, how long can you burn? If you're burning in hell's fire, So I don't know. There's some criminals who've killed many people. Now, those people, if anybody qualifies for hell's fires, there's serial killers that have killed not one person but many. So, but I've always thought that if the criminals were capable of talking and working themselves, and if talking would help them to get control and become less dangerous, or not dangerous, then it was worth doing. So
That's the 5-minute limit call there.
I would be willing to. I told him that he has come once, and last night it was apparent that he was trying to come through again. And I said, well, as long as the talks are productive, yes, I'd be willing to talk to him about the past
Mm-hmm.
and everything that happened. And I couldn't talk to him while he was still married in here because he was just so completely, he and his wife were into eating. She was a very good cook, and people in her family had always had trouble getting heavy. And so she not only got very heavy, but he got very heavy. And it was like, that was their world, and I couldn't really
I got it.
talk
I've
to
got
him.
it. The worst punishment for a person like that is don't let him eat. Put him on a diet. Don't let him eat. Now, see, an alcoholic,
Well, I don't know.
you just take the booze away from him, and after a while he
with-
says, yeah, so what? Get
with-
some other drug, you know. Mhm.
Without a body, I don't know that the people in the
Yeah,
spirit
what do
form
they eat on the
I
other
don't
side,
know as they eat. I don't know that much about it. But
is sex really necessary
I don't
after
think
you're
they
dead?
would. They certainly wouldn't have to eat like we do here. We're constantly, we're prisoners to our body's demands as long as we're here. And so as long as he was on this earth, even when he quit drinking, I did not try to associate with him because he was ashamed of getting fat, and so he didn't want to be seen. He
Well, you
was
know,
kind of vain, and he didn't want to be seen. He was a cowboy, and
Yeah, right. One of the German
before-
philosophers said, basically what man is a big bag of skin which you have to constantly fill up with food.
yeah. So that's something to think about. Punishment. What the criminal goes through on death. Okay, that's it.
One more question. If send this guy down to my apartment, okay?
Oh, you wouldn't.
And I'll
talk to-
slap the crap out of him. I really will.
Well,
I mean,
now here's a guy
what
that's
have I
very,
got to
very
lose,
much
right?
like
That's right.
he was before.
I've never molested
I have.
anybody.
I know, but he won't
Not
quit
that you
drinking.
know
He
of.
won't. He's an incorrigible drunk, and I've tried to convince him many times he'd be better off. I'd be better off. Everybody'd be better off if he quit drinking. And so far, no luck. No luck.